Good day, everyone. We are Group 6, and today we will be presenting on Malaysia's special education policies and guidelines. First, let me introduce our group members: Fatin Amira Farhana, Harivain Mutusami, Dayang Puteri Nurul Sadikah Azimah, Kasih Harry Eleni Neum, and Muhammad Sharul Shah bin Rosli Aspat. Together, we work collaboratively to prepare this presentation, and we hope it will be informative and meaningful for everyone. Thank you, and let's begin our presentation.
Hello everyone, we are from Group 6. We will present about Malaysia's special education policies and guidelines. So today, I will begin our presentation by explaining the Persons with Disability Act, or PWDA 2008, which is an important foundation for special education policies in Malaysia. Do you know that the PWDA 2008 marked a historic milestone because before this act, policies related to persons with disabilities were fragmented and lacked strong legal enforcement. So this act provides a clear legal framework to protect the rights of persons with disabilities in Malaysia. It is also aligned Malaysia with international human rights commitments, especially the principles later that reflected in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Therefore, the PWDA serves as the starting point for other education-related policies and guidelines. The PWDA 2008 is guided by several key principles. First, the Act emphasizes equality and non-discrimination, which means persons with disabilities should not be denied opportunities simply because of their disabilities. Second, it recognizes the right of persons with disabilities to participation in all aspects of life, including education, employment, and social activities. Third, the Act ensures equal access to education and public service, meaning learners with disabilities should have the same educational opportunities as their peers. Overall, the PWDA adopts a human rights-based approach where persons with disabilities are recognized as individuals with rights rather than as recipients of charity. Next slide is PWDA and education. In terms of education, the PWDA clearly states that the learners with disabilities have the right to access the same educational opportunities as their peers. To support this, the Act promotes the principle of reasonable accommodation. This means schools are expected to make appropriate adjustments so that students with disabilities are not disadvantaged. This adjustment may include changes in teaching method, assessment format, learning materials, or physical accessibility. The responsibility is on the education system to adapt the needs of learners rather than excluding them from schooling. Example and importance of PWDA. For example, a student with visual impairment should be provided with learning materials in Braille or audio format. Similarly, a student with autism may require structured routines or individualized learning support to help them succeed in the classroom. However, it is important to note that the PWDA does not provide detailed procedures for implementations. Instead, it acts as legal foundation that supports other policies such as the Special Education Regulations in 2013 and the Zero Reject Policy. In conclusion, the PWDA 2018 established two legal and right-based foundation for inclusive and equitable education in Malaysia. Thank you. Now, pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum. Today I will be presenting on Malaysia student education policy and guidelines, specifically focusing on the framework established by the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2030 to 2025. This blueprint represents a major shift in how our nation approaches education for students with special needs, moving towards a system that prioritizes equity and access for all. To understand where we are going, we must understand the context. Special education in Malaysia is designed for the murid berkeperluan khas. Historically, special education was often viewed through a charity lens. However, the blueprint introduced a massive strategy shift towards a right-based model. There are two key pillars here. The zero reject policy. This is critical in the guarantee that every child, regardless of their disability, has the fundamental rights to education. The second, closing the gap. We are actively working on the reduce to disparity in enrollment and achievement between special needs students and their mainstream peers. For the next slides, this is bring us to the core vision. Our goals is inclusive education. We are aligned with our policy with the international standards such as the UN Convention on the Rights of the Person with Disability. This vision is simple. Diversity be recognized and the students should be feel they belong in mainstream society. This to achieve this, we follow the principle of the least restrictive environment. This means a student should not be separate from their peers unless absolute necessary. Placement is based on a child's education potential, not just their medical diagnosis. If a child can learn in a mainstream class, they should be there. Okay, next. Currently, the Minister of Education offer three distinct models to different level of need. The first one, special education school. These are for the student with several visual, hearing or learning disability who do require a fully specialized environment and infrastructure. The second, integration program, PPKI. This is the most common model. These are special classes located within mainstream school. Students learn separately but share facility like the canteen and the field, allowing for the student integration. And the last one is PPI, Exclusive Education Program. This is our ultimate goals for many. In PPI, students learn together with the mainstream peers in the same classroom, supported by teacher aids and flexibility teaching method. What does this look like in practice? Let's look at the example of the student in the inclusive program. Imagine a student with learning difficulty. Academically, they join the mainstream classes for the core subject like English or Bahasa Melayu to ensure they are challenged. And for the support, they are left alone. They will be retrieved, pull out support, or have a shadow aid for difficulty tasks. And social in social, they participate fully in sport and co-curriculum activity. Most importantly, their progress is tracked using IEP, Individual Education Plan, which set specific goal unique to that child. This holistic approach ensures the student is not just present in the school but actively participating. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
Good afternoon, I'm Harivani here. Today I will be presenting on the Zero Reject policy introduced by the Ministry of Education Malaysia in 2019. This policy means that no child with special educational needs can be denied access to education, regardless of their disability or a medical status. School must accept the child first, then assess and plan support. For example, from my behalf, if a child with autism comes to school without a medical report, the school still must allow to the child to enroll. The school cannot reject the child just because the diagnosis is not complete. This shows that education is treated as a basic right and not a privilege. Next slide will be my before versus after 2019. Before 2019, many children with special needs face rejection from schools. For example, a child who uses a wheelchair might be refused admission because the school says they do not have ramps or suitable facilities. In the past, this was allowed. After the zero reject policy, this changed. The school must accept the child first and then work on providing access, such as arranging classrooms at the ground floor or seeking support for the education department. This shift shows that responsibility is now on the school system and not the child. And my third slide might be guarantees for students with SEN. The zero reject policy also guarantees support for students with special educational needs. Students can be placed in mainstream classes, special integrated programs, or special schools depending on their needs. They are also supported through individual educational plans. For an example, a student with dyslexia in a mainstream class may be given an extra time during exam or simplified worksheet to complete her exam in a proper way. This ensures that students are not only admitted to school, but they are also given a fair learning opportunities to complete their lessons. For my next slide, slide 4, I'll be explain about challenges in implementation. Despite its benefits, the zero reject policy faces challenges in real school settings. For an example, a mainstream teacher maybe have 40 students in one class, only just 40 students, including a child with ADHD without enough training or support. The teacher may struggle to manage the class effectively. May also be limited teaching aids or support staff. This shows that while the policy ensures access, teachers and schools need more resources and training to implement it successfully. My last slide will be rights-based education shift. In conclusion, the zero reject policy reflects a shift towards right-based education. For example, or instead of asking, can this child cope in our school? Schools now ask, what support can we provide to help this child learn? The mindset change promotes inclusion, respect, and equality. Overall, the zero reject policy strengthens inclusive education in Malaysia and ensures that no child is left behind.
Hi, my name is Kasihari El Ninium, and today I will be presenting about the Special Education Regulations 2013. So this regulation, it was established under the Educations Act of 1996. So this regulation also shall be applied to the government school and also government aided school that is implementing the special educations. So the purpose of this regulation is to make sure that the children with special need have the access to an education that is both fair and suitable, and also to assist the school in locating, enrolling, and also helping the students with special education needs. Next is the eligibility criteria. So this regulation, it is intended for the students who have been determined to have special educational needs. This includes among the children that has disability, which is learning disability, physical disability, ADHD, autism, and many more. So this eligibility is determined through professional evaluation, and also school assessments are often used to establish the eligibility. Moving on to the parental involvements. So, parents plays an important role in these regulations. Where the parents they should be aware of their children educational. They also should engage in discussions regarding support strategies and also developments. Not only that, but parents should also promote cooperations among the school administrators, teachers, and also parents. So, in terms of curriculum adaptations, the students with special needs, the curriculum can be changed or customized to suit their specific requirements. This may also include concentrates on improving the students' class skill as well as their social, academic, and also emotional developments. This is to make sure that the students with special education's need they can learn in a ways that is accessible and meaningful. Lastly is the support service and also documentations of IEP. So the students they will receive an additional support service which is special education instructors and also therapists. So in terms of the documentation IEPs, it is outlined the students' learning goals, support strategy, and also their progress. So it is develop the collaborations among the educator, parents, and also the specialists. It is also the regular reviews and update to track the students' progress. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dayang Putri. I will conclude all about Malaysian special education policy and guidelines. So, in conclusion, special education policies in Malaysia are based on the Person with Disabilities Act 2008 and the Education Act in 1996 in Regulation 2013 to ensure that students with special needs have access to appropriate education. This matter focuses on the zero reject policies, the special education blueprint, as well as inclusive regulation in integrated or inclusive special education programs to maximize the potential of MBKs at all school levels. The Person with Disabilities Act 2000 potential of MBKs in the rights of recognized group to have access to education, health, and public facilities without discrimination. This can provide a legal basis to MBKs to claims a place in the national education system. This means that students with disabilities have the rights to access the same education opportunity as their peers. Therefore, PWDA promotes this principle of reasonable to ensure that schools create equal education that is non-discriminatory and fair. The Special Education Blueprint in 2013 to 2025 is a strategy to improve the quality of special education by focusing on the teaching quality, adapted curriculum, and early interventions support. This is to ensure that MBKs receive equal education opportunities starting from preschool to post-secondary education. Furthermore, encouraging more MBKs to study in regular day schools through the Inclusive Education Program (PPI) to improve social interaction. This blueprint also have aimed to transform the education system to ensure that no student is marginalized from accessing a quality education. Besides that, the zero reject policy is a policy that stipulates that no MBKs can be denied their rights to receive education in government or government aided schools. as long as they are able to be educated. The zero reject policies has changed the mindsets, reinforcing that every child belongs in school and should not be excluded because of disabilities. The education special education regulates in 2018 are regulations that outline in the implementation of the Special Education Integration Program (PPKI) and the Inclusive Education Program that is PPI. This is to ensure that students are placed according their ability level in regulation schools. The student the education special that in special education regulates in 2013. This serve as a practical guidelines to implementing special education programs in Malaysia. These regulations provide detailed guidelines on how special education services should be organized, administered, and monitored in school, including MBK assessment procedure, standard curriculum, and the use of teaching aids to ensure effective learning. This, implement, this implementation is supported by the collaboration of various agencies and the involvement of parents to ensure inclusive and equitable education. Okay, so next is about inclusive education. Inclusive education have a positive impact on the information of students' personalities and character as excellent individuals. Through a variety of approach in teaching and learning, students can understand lessons better based on their learning style. Inclusive education can also drive social interaction and collaborative learning through an attitude of cooperation and mutual assistance because students will understand the concept learn more quickly. This can be seen through the classroom mentors where students learn together in a team which makes learning more meaningful and more effective. Inclusive education provides great benefit and impact to students in academic uh, aspect, forming value, personality, character, and building good relationship and social interaction. This not only ensure that every student has the right to learn, but also builds today's generation of school students who are more caring, competitive, supportive, and respectful of each other. The challenges are the lack of trained teachers is inclusive education, improvements in facility and learning resources, as well as stigma and community acceptance of students with special needs which still need to be improved. The Ministry of Education needs to work hard to improve inclusive education, especially in the aspect of teacher training, provide of facilities and community awareness. Developed countries are seen to be more advanced in implementing this inclusive education program and to ensure that all students get fair and quality learning opportunity and access. As for the teachers and prospective education plays a role as a curriculum implements to match the unique capabilities of students with special needs. This involves adapting objective teaching methods and teaching aids to ensure effective learning that focuses on the needs of MBK for students with special needs. Teachers needs to ensure that the curriculum is the form of MBKs and ensures that the learning content is appropriate for the connecting physical and emotional levels of each MBK. Teachers also need to plan a special for the MBKs to meet their unique needs. Furthermore, MBK serve cooperative tools between teachers, parents, and support service to determine the best learning strategies. Therefore, teacher needs to be highly skilled and prepared to enable MBKs to master basic skills. That's all from me. Thank you.